Hey everyone, good morning. I just want to grab my coffee real quick. First of all, let's talk about this hair. This is Feather Light Curls from Miss Jessie. It's a new formula for, it looks like it's a good formula for thin hair because this is real fluffy with no touch-ups. Okay, so this is so exciting because when we go into the energy centers in our body, it's kind of like a map to healing. And for someone like me who has not liked to feel sensations in the body, who has always ran from sensations in the body, this is how I've healed and come to terms with myself and accepted myself and then caused this physical transformation. And what's really funny right now is that every time we get closer to our unrealistic fantasy that we have about our health, whether about our body, whether it's in health or whether it's how you feel it's attractive, how you like being in it, the closer that I've gotten to my ideal fantasy that I've had in my mind, the more layers of ways I have been running from myself have been presenting themselves. And so with the eclipse energy last week, boom, it was like, so first of all, the right side of my neck went out after a chiropractic adjustment. He did one thing differently and like that just set it off and I was in a flare. Then a couple days later, I pulled out the left side of my upper back. And then we had the eclipse. And so on Saturday and Sunday, I was just like, okay, energy is moving. Whenever my body gets locked up, there's things that I have to process. So Sunday, I meditated and took a lot of time to really feel my emotions. And I meditated again last night to prepare for this guided meditation about the divine feminine, because it's so, so important. So let's start from the beginning. Welcome so much for being here. And if you haven't met me before, my name is 𝗪𝗫. I've been in fitness for 20 years. I started meditating in 2014, because I knew my brick and mortar business was about to fold. And I was meditating purely to keep anxiety at bay. Then when my gym closed in 2015, I meditated that I could envision my love circling around the world. And when I could see it meet on the other side, it came back to me and I got to experience that. Then in 2017, I started meditating the way 𝗀𝗵𝘁 teaches it, because I had a disc in my neck slide up and under the one above it. And I read from Dr. Sarno that most problems with our body, minus missing a genome and minus having actual broken tissue like a broken bone, everything else is psychosomatic, is the mental emotional disconnect. And so I wanted to learn how to connect those two. So I've been on this meditative path for a while, and as I have been secluded in quarantine from my normal life, I've had more time to learn how I move energy and how I interpret emotion. And so I'm sharing all of this with you. So I'm so glad you're here. Now, we're going to go through the solar plexus chakra. Now, the only thing that you really need to know about chakras is that they are like little magnetic balls that anchor us into the third dimension. This is a huge universe with multiple dimensions. They're all intertwined within and around each other. They're not necessarily levels to it. And so for us to have the human experience, which by the way is the bravest thing that your soul can do, is decide to be human, because when we get to this density of humanness, we forget that we are connected to God. There is an evil, and the evil is explicitly removing the divine feminine from the Godhead. And this happened mostly with the three Abrahamic religions of the last 2,000-year cycle, with Judaism, with Islam, and with Catholicism/Christianity. So we have a natural state of falling asleep in this dimension and perceiving ourselves as separate and going on this wild adventure of becoming through those base fear emotions of fear and frustration. And then there is evil that separated the Godhead, which really just separated us. And so that is what we are seeing come to a head right now, of this full separation. And can we convince the people, can these energies convince the people that they are separate from God? No, they are not separate from God. So I'm one of the people who's going to ignite you to help you remember that you are fully connected to God the Father, God the Mother. So in this human dimension, with these energy centers that anchor us into this reality, they have different purposes. They have different levels of energy, and we measure energy in emotion. Go look up the emotional scale. So the root chakra is like base identification of what it means to be human. Does being human mean safe or unsafe? And then we have all these different things that pile on off of that perception. We have the sacral chakra that has to do with our unconscious behaviors. So that root chakra is the subconscious, way deep down below. The sacral chakra is the unconscious of our unconscious patterns. Like, we don't have to think about extending our fingers and extending our elbow and then flexing our elbow and flexing our fingers to bring something to us. That's an unconscious pattern. So the unconscious patterns relate to the sacral chakra and the unconscious part of the mind. The solar plexus, which we're doing today, is all about our conscious thoughts and feelings. This is where we say, I am. And because it's easier to heal from the surface down instead of the deep down up, we're going after the solar plexus first in these guided meditations. And so when you think about the ways that you talk about, I'm like this because of my mom, I'm like this because my mom did this, I'm like this because this is how my mom talked, I'm like this because I'm genetically tied to my mom, or I'm like this because my mom took off, my mom abandoned me, I didn't have a mom. Anything that we associate our state of being or our identity, mindset if it's negative, our behaviors if they're destructive, and that like intangible dream, like that thing that like I cannot fucking access, I cannot create it in my reality, it's because my mom. That's what we're going after, because that's the energy that's distorted, that's out of balance, that's influencing how you think and how you do and how you speak. And so you're building your reality off of this negative energy that you're unaware of, because it's the energy first that creates the material experience. So I kind of went through the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious in relation to these first three chakras. And the reason why I'm only focusing on the first three chakras is because these are the ones that are fucking things up for us. And so when we go into our heart space to view the energy and feel the energy in these centers, the ones above, the throat chakra, the third eye chakra, the crown chakra, they're all going to come into alignment and turn on. We literally don't have access to our above energy, our God energy, because these ones on the bottom that anchor us into the 3D are so distorted. So the throat chakra, the third eye chakra, the crown chakra, they're all going to turn on naturally, and you'll have access to them when you do the work down here on the human level. So Sigmund Freud is like the father of psychology, and he talks about the conscious mind being our aware thoughts and feelings, the things that we know about. And then the unconscious is, or the subconscious, sorry, I got them mixed up. The subconscious is the mental activities of thought and feeling that are always running, but we're not aware of them. And then the unmarked, buried stuff. And when we're human, when we, get to be a soul and we come into this density, the risk, okay, all right, we're back on. The risk that we take here is falling asleep. And from 0 to 7, we are imprinted by the environment. So what's going on around our body, what's going on inside of our body, of the molecular environment, and monkey see, monkey do. We're learning from the people around us of what it is to be human. So in 0 to 7, we are literally programmed into the human state. And part of this programming is negative. It's the negative things that we literally sign up to experience so that we can have the journey of becoming and figuring it out and growing and having a soul expansion. It's like the human experience is just the place where you learn. It's not like the end result. So whatever it is that you're after in your body or in your life, the struggle and the accomplishment is really stuff that is relevant to the other side and your process of becoming closer to God, or your process of being that aspect of God that breaks off to experience different things and then reports back. This is what it's like to be human as Lauren in Los Angeles, California, during the biggest ascension cycle of the universe. That's what my soul is doing right now. So these are really important to understand because we are dealing with pain. We're not talking about fun stuff that we're going to go and view. This is the painful stuff. So if we can remain objective to the human experience to have the blissful soul experience, that's where we're really going to see our transformations. So what is the mama drama? I already kind of said it. The mama drama is, you know, I'm like this because of my mom. I'm like this because I didn't have a mom. Those are the statements that we find ourselves saying. And it's just a cute way of talking about the negative energy. Now, the toxic energy of the divine feminine is reactive, impressionable, easily manipulated, the master of manipulation. She's unclear and irrational. Now, the divine energy of the feminine energy is stable, perceptive, aware, uncalculating, and sensible. Our emotional state, we can manage our emotions. We've heard this before. Our emotional state is what sends a field out around our body that influences the brain. And our ability to think solution thoughts, creative thoughts, our ability to speak into existence what we want to have, and our ability to follow through on the habits that are going to give us a physical transformation. I'm now at 25, I'm between 25 and 27 pounds of weight loss since quarantine started. So we get to have these transformations. So what we're going to do is go into the solar plexus, and I have to be out of the house in 9 minutes. So we'll see how well I do with this in this amount of time. So what we're going to do is start with brain and heart coherence. Breathing in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhaling 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So now you've just created a safe space in your heart where there's no stress. So you want to keep that breath slow of 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out. And we're going to call in protection right now. I'm going to ask that my guide do the same thing for you so that we move through this a little quickly just because of the time. I'm going to ask my 5D guide, my 5D gatekeeper, to come into all of our fields and this entire space that we are connected to, whether you're watching this live or you're catching the replay. That my 5th dimensional gatekeeper come in and clear all of our fields, cut all of our cords, heal the cord, heal the person, place, or thing it's attached to, and heal ourselves. I'm going to ask my 5th dimensional gatekeeper to keep us safe and protected and to intercept information that is only for our highest good. The information is clear and that it is coming from our own personal solar plexus so that we can work on our divine feminine issues individually. So what I want you to do is take 3 deep breaths. When you exhale, see if you can see a sphere of energy from the center of your chest, like the dead center right up against your spine, underneath the heart organ. That sphere, every time you exhale, gets bigger, so that then it encompasses around your whole physical body. And then on your next inhale, I want you to see if you can retract it just a little bit to fill the dimension of your rib cage. And on that next deep exhale, blow it out even more. Blow it out a foot beyond your arms and beyond your chest and your back. Do one more, and I want you to see if you can elongate that sphere so that it really is like you're inside of an egg shape, that your body is inside of an egg shape using the energy of your heart chakra. So your body is fully contained in the love energy of the Divine Mother. And in that energy, in our protected space, I want you to see if you can allow yourself to feel the feeling underneath the statements of, I'm like this because of my mom. I'm like this because I didn't have a mom. What are those feelings? Do you get a lump in your throat? Does your stomach get upset? Does your shoulder get tight? Do you have ringing in your ear? Feel what happens in your body, and then allow yourself to let the memory come to your mind. Because we're going from the subconscious, the unconscious energies into your conscious mind. So what is that feeling? What is that memory? Or what is the image? Because you might be seeing a movie or a commercial in your mind, something that has nothing to do with you, but that's a picture that you can interpret as a representation of the energy that you're perceiving. So stay here for like another 30 seconds. Perceiving the energy and the feelings underneath. I'm like this because my mom. I'm like this because I didn't have a mom. See if you can write it down, what the emotion is, what the feeling is, what the picture is, the memory. Because what you're going to do is reprogram your body. So whatever it is that you just felt, go to the thesaurus and look up the antonyms of the feeling. Because if you can put yourself in the vibrational state, the feeling state of the antonym of your pain, you're raising your light body closer to your high self, to your soul, to your oversoul, to your God. And you're changing the molecular state of the human body. So the biological, chemical, emotional, feminine body, and the vibrational, spiritual, light body of the feminine, emotional body, they're coming together and they're rising together. So you're changing your health genetically with your DNA, with the different molecules of emotion that are secreting from your brain, and you're changing it spiritually. The higher you go vibrationally, the more your gifts turn on, the more your throat chakra, your third eye, your crown, all click on. And you will get all the information coming into you, through you, from your soul, where you're not going to need so many gurus and so many helpers. You're going to learn how to do it on your own. So that's what I want you to do. Listen to the beginning of this if you didn't catch the whole thing, because I got to run. And I have to put up a schedule to invite you to processing. So how this is working is I'm going to give you guided meditations every few days of how to get into the energy and tell you exactly what you need to do so you can do it in self-practice. But if you get stuck, if you need help with it, that's where we're going to do a Q&A of processing, where it's not that expensive for you to invest in, and it's only going to be an hour, up to an hour probably, so that you can really figure out what you actually need to do to make that progress. And so we're going to gradually build into bigger, deeper programs that we can do together so that you can feel really comfortable and really build that confidence in yourself that this super duper abstract stuff can be done. You can do this too. So that's what we're going to do. And let's thank the fifth dimensional gatekeeper for protecting this space. And we'll ask that being, we'll relieve that being from the duties that this being takes on my behalf. Okay, we'll catch you guys later.